Hello everybody, welcome back to the We Dive In podcast. I'd like to welcome back my fellow podcast members. We've got Tova, Radhika. I would be remiss to omit that Radhika and our cameraman Brian had an engagement over the weekend. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Congratulations, it's amazing.
Thank you. Wow, that's great.
I didn't want to tell our guests because I wanted them to be really surprised.
Happy news.
We have two really special guests in today. I'd like Tova to give a little explanation about them.
So we have Simha and Leah Goldin. The Goldins lost their son Hadar when he was 23 years old, when he was captured and killed by the terror group Hamas. Hadar was a lieutenant for the IDF. He fell captive during a ceasefire 2.5 years ago, and his body has never been returned to his family. So the Goldins are speaking out about that and calling for the international community to ensure the return of Hadar's body. And we are so happy to have you here and to hear your story. So Leah and Simha, thank you for joining us here. And that's just a background, but I'd really like to hear you give your story to our listeners as to what happened.
So what happened? Okay, 2.5 years ago, during Operation Protective Edge, actually we sent 2 officers to the Gaza Strip, our twin boys, Hadar and Tzur, both young officers that went into Gaza. And after the war, we realized that they were actually 700 meters apart.
Wow.
Tzur was responsible for a rescue team. His duty was to go back and forth to rescue wounded and dead soldiers. However, he also rescued Palestinian families that were caught between fires since the Hamas was using them as human shields.
Wow.
And Tzur received a call from the officer in the area where the incident happened with Hadar. But of course he didn't know that it's his brother.
Wow.
By the time he prepared all this stuff, at the headquarters they realized that they have twins.
They have the same name.
So they just pulled him back and he went home. Now Hadar was a part of the Givati unit. And their duty was to secure the engineering companies that were responsible for destroying the underground tunnels. Now, on August 1st, 2.5 years ago, 2 hours after the last ceasefire was declared, Hamas took advantage of this ceasefire, knowing that the Israeli soldiers do not shoot. That's the protocol. They are not shooting during ceasefire. They ambushed them, killed 3 of them, and kidnapped Hadar's body deep into the tunnels, underground tunnels in Gaza, where they still keep him. And another soldiers, that Oron Shaul, an incident that happened 2 weeks before that. So they keep 2 bodies of 2 Israeli soldiers. Now, what we learned since then, that Hadar is actually a victim of a ceasefire rather than a victim of a war. And since he was killed during a ceasefire brokered by the UN, Ban Ki-moon, General Secretary, and the US, John Kerry, Secretary of State.
Yeah.
So some would say that since this is actually international brokered ceasefire, they should be accountable for his return. That's why we actually here to approach both the international community and the US, hoping that they will interfere and help us to bring Hadar home to a decent burial.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing that. So how are you, what are you doing to raise awareness? What are the activities or things that you're doing while you're here to raise awareness about this to the international community?
The most recent one was last September. We came to New York We were invited by Prime Minister Netanyahu to be his guest at the General Assembly at the UN during his speech. And along with this, we set up an art exhibition of Hadar's work. Hadar was an artist, a great artist. And this was, from our point of view, a great, a wonderful way to raise awareness. The title of the exhibition is Hadar, the Final Piece. If you want, I will tell you how we got to this name, actually, Hadar.
Yes,
Hadar said it.
Go for it.
And this exhibition is now presented at the Tolerance Museum here in Los Angeles. And the opening will be on Wednesday evening. So we are very proud of it. So this was our, major issue, how to raise awareness. Yeah. Of course, we do our best with social networks, but we are quite young with it, and mainly in Hebrew. So we hope to get some American assistant in connecting to English speakers social networks.
Yes.
Here in the state, we are talking to congressmen, congresswomen, senators, people that want to listen to this problem.
Right.
And the heads of leaders of the Jewish organization or human rights organization.
What kind of response are you getting from these people?
Okay. First of all, one major issue is that we present our case as a humanitarian case, because bringing dead Jewish soldier to decent burial in his homeland, according to his religion, and actually by all religion, this is the basic humanitarian value of all religions. And it's a basic human right and human dignity, whatever you look at this. Mm-hmm. So we present our humanitarian case to these organizations and leaders and try to look for linkage between our humanitarian case to the big humanitarian case of rebuilding Gaza.
Okay.
The whole world, the whole international community is struggling to build Gaza, and we will be more than happy to have Gaza like Singapore next to us.
For sure.
However, on one condition, bring Hadar home. It's not, helping and supporting Gaza with humanitarian aid is excellent, but they should in return comply to our humanitarian values. It's not fair and it's not right to support those terrorists, and if I may say they are terrorists, yes, they are still defined as terrorists, while they can simply ignore and not comply basic humanitarian values of first, violating ceasefire, secondly, kidnap a body, and third, refusing to return it for decent burial.
Right.
So when we apply to the Jewish organization or human rights organization or congressmen and senators, from our point of view, all those influential entities, we hope that they take our case as an issue to demonstrate that everyone do care about basic humanitarian values and try to enforce them.
Yes.
On the other side, in order to make it unworthy for them to keep the bodies and to kidnap in the first place. So for us, we hope it will be a short-term solution, but we believe that by doing that, it will be a long-term solution for the whole world that is suffering from terror nowadays.
Yeah. So that actually brings me to my next question. What kind of major figures or influential people have you met along the way? And second part of that question, who would you like to meet?
Well, we met, as I said, previously, senators and congressmen and congresswomen. Last Friday it was. We met Congressman Brian Metz. he was injured in Afghanistan, and he wanted to help us. Going to talk about this and going to do something in the Congress. Last year we met Iliana was Leitinen, and she put a speech in the Congress, in the House.
A 1 minute speech. There is a nice video about it that we can show.
That'd be great.
And we are aiming to meet the people in the Congress that are sitting in the committees that dealing with humanities issues and dealing with transferring money and the commerce to and resources to the Gaza Strip in order to maintain this issue of humanitarian help.
Right.
And bring our humanitarian issue into consideration.
Right.
We think that by even questioning any support, any humanitarian support, and saying, wow, what is going on with Hadar and Nuran?
Yeah.
Why do you keep their bodies? By doing it by a lot of organization may cause the right effect to bring Hadar home. I mean, that's our attitude.
Amazing. So the idea behind that is to obviously, if people in the Gaza Strip or the ruling terrorist group Hamas, if they want to receive humanitarian help, then they need to comply with humanitarian demands.
Simple as that.
That's the idea.
That's the idea. Yeah, I mean that
makes sense.
Makes 100% sense.
Very logical stuff.
Yeah, but then we have to make it. It has to make sense to the politicians, you know.
Right.
That's our challenge.
Well, I mean, we talk about the things that you're doing, but as parents who have lost a child, you're doing all these things, which is amazing, and you're putting yourself out there. But is there anything that stopped the day that this happened, when you found out? Is there anything that stopped in your life?
We tried very hard to maintain the same occupation, the same deeds that we have been done from before this incident.
Mm-hmm.
They want us to talk about ourselves, about our children.
You.
So,
really
begin with me, or
Steve?
I'm professor of Jewish history in the Tel Aviv University. I'm a social historian dealing with the Jews in the Middle Ages in northern France, Germany and England.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the head of a center that deals with, it's called the Diaspora Research Center, that deals with culture and history of the Jews outside of Israel.
Mm.
And I was a lieutenant colonel in the reserve in the army of Israel. All our kids are officers in the army, on the reserve now.
Except me. I'm the chief of staff.
Of course.
We can tell.
Our first daughter, Ayelet, lives in the Golan Heights, in a very wonderful place called Natur.
Yeah.
She was in Golani, in the infantry.
Mm-hmm.
Our second son, Chemi, which is a lawyer and a dancer,
And an artist.
and artist, lives in Jerusalem.
Wow.
And Hadar and Tzur was born in the Galil.
Okay.
We were born in the Galil, and after that we moved to Kfar Saba.
Okay.
And Tzur now studying in the Hebrew University Law and History, and is living also in Jerusalem.
Wow.
And we've tried not to stop anything that we do.
Okay.
We are teaching, Leah, תספר על עצמך also.
Okay.
Yeah. And we keep trying to do research, we are teaching, and above all we are doing
Wow.
those efforts concerning bring Hadar back
That's amazing.
to what we call Kever Israel, to be honest, buried in Israel.
Wow.
Okay. I'm a computer scientist.
And
all
chief
my-
of staff.
And the
And
chief of staff.
all my life I've been working in high tech as a software engineer and as a system engineer. Highly involved in the defense industry. I mean, what eventually helped us during Operation Protective Edge, all the things you hear.
Yeah.
Of course, everything is secret, you know.
Sure.
So this is my profession. During the recent years, like 12 years, I've been became an independent consultant to the defense industry, to the medical devices industry, and I'm teaching. I'm a lecturer at Afeka College of Engineering. I'm teaching software engineering. So this is what I do on a daily basis. So
She asked if we stop something in our life.
no, the more I think of reducing, then it gets greater. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But then when we finish the day around 8 o'clock, then we start all our activities concerning Bring Adar home. I've became the project manager of all the art issues and educational program that if you want we can talk about it.
Wow,
But that's what we do. That's why we feel now that as a family probably we have great ideas, but in order to operate them we need an assistant of organizations that would like to take our case as an issue on their agenda and promote it and try to achieve it. I mean, this is our
And of course, the
view.
help of the international countries, international environment that are against the terrorist groups. And Am Israel.
Are there any groups or countries that have surprised you by reaching out to you, or they've been very receptive to your case?
What communities?
To your,
countries. First of all, I mean, the only chance we had to contact countries was during the General Assembly on September, where we met people from different missions from Europe that came to the General Assembly.
Yeah.
Most of them were very sympathetic, and
Sympathetic.
wanted to help, but some of them were not very helpful. Mainly, saying, look, the Palestinians have greater problems than you are.
Oh, that's sensitive.
So we had it from, I will not identify
No,
it
no.
at the moment, but these were a bit disappointing.
Yeah.
We are now, actually we met Samantha Power, the ambassador, the US ambassador to UN.
The light.
The last one.
Yeah, that's
I'll talk over it.
no.
No, correct.
Sorry.
I hope to do it.
We're good.
Watch out,
Fine.
Samantha.
Samantha Powell as well.
Sorry.
So she was very cooperative. She wanted to help, but of course now things have been changed.
Yeah.
But we look to the new administration, hoping that they will take it as an American issue to resolve, because after all the US was involved in this ceasefire. They actually brokered this ceasefire, and some would say that it was enforced on Israel. I don't know, I'm not in the details, but anyway you look at it, we hope that the new administration will take it as an issue to resolve and to show that it's better. I mean, how do you say it? That they can resolve this stain that was created by the old administration.
Right.
They can rectify it.
I hope I'm
Yeah.
clear.
Yes.
No, you are.
No,
for
Because
sure.
essentially it could be a precedent for the future, maybe in different conflicts. Other countries will say, well, these things can happen
Of course.
during enforced or internationally brokered ceasefires.
Exactly. You can't just walk around the world organizing ceasefire and not taking responsibility about the consequences of a ceasefire, especially between terrorists, state and terrorists. You know, all the international agreements about human rights are usually between states. And you know, since they are terrorists, the Hamas, they are off the hook.
Yeah.
But this is not normal and unacceptable, and this should be changed. And I believe that our effort is in one direction to change the attitude. People talk about paradigm shift. I mean, in the fact that if you are a terrorist, no matter, and you ask for the international support, you know, via humanitarian issues, then you should comply humanitarian issue. I mean, that's the whole idea.
It's pretty simple. Well, especially considering the fact that if it was not a time of ceasefire, the whole situation would have even looked different to begin with. There was special orders being a ceasefire and so forth.